Call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable, professional in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by CB&S Bank. Bank anywhere, at any time with CB&S Bank's digital solutions. Managing your finances has never been so easy. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Head coach Kalen DeBoer met with the media on Saturday, following Alabama's 28-14 win over Auburn in the Iron Bowl.
Proud of the guys today, staff and everyone, just putting a good week of work in, and I could really feel it Tuesday morning. I thought it was a great practice, and I told the guys downstairs, that was something that felt and got us off to a pretty good start. Wednesday was the same thing, and it led to a day where we're out there and playing hard and doing our thing, and just proud of the resiliency at times that we have, whether it's week to week, even within a game, but our focus, I think, was on the right things all week long, focusing on this game, focusing on what we could control.
I'll have more in a moment.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations. You could say we know a thing or two about tradition. We've been family, community, and financially strong since we began in 1906. Being a team player is part of our culture. That's why at CB&S Bank, we're proud to sponsor the University of Alabama Athletics and prouder to take the field or court with you. Visit cbsbank.com today. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Join us tonight for Crimson Tide Rewind, presented by the Alabama Department of Public Health, live at 6 p.m. Central from the Grill in Vestavia Hills. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by CB&S Bank. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome in, welcome back. We are brand new, we are live, we are off, we are running. It is Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back into the program on a Monday morning. Doors are open. Everybody, come on in. It's service department's open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Get your vehicle serviced. And I was told that any day now, the service department is expecting to get a call, and they're going to start renovations out here on the service department. They are going to make this place amazing from what I've been told. I've kind of gotten a lay of the land of what's going to happen. It's going to look pretty cool when it's all said and done. We're just going to have to find a new home for a couple months. Yeah, someone's going to have to show up. Maybe the newest member of the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame, Israel Raymond, can let us in.
There's some room in the
showroom.
In the showroom, yeah. There's a lot of tables, and they do a great job helping folks. And so we may end up in the showroom over at Bill Penny Toyota, because these dealerships, and especially over here with Bill Penny Toyota, a longtime sponsor that we truly cherish, is it's a campus here. I call it more of a campus. There's quite a bit going on, and we are in here in the service department, and their auto collision center. And unfortunately, I've had to get to know it some with my previous vehicle, but they've moved it down University Drive, and it used to be here right beside us. So they've continued to grow and expand and continue to be the force that they are here at Bill Penny.
It's your Monday, so that means it's your good, the bad, the ugly from the final weekend of the college football regular season. Hard to believe that 12 weeks of the college football season has come and gone. It feels like we just kicked this thing off a couple weeks ago. But the Iron Bowl is in the books, and the Iron Bowl goes the way of Alabama down in Tuscaloosa on Saturday, 28-14, your final inside Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yeah, Alabama controlled the game, never trailed. Probably if they had been a little cleaner, they would have won it about 49-10, but they had 4 turnovers, and we kind of saw Jalen Milroe's career in a nutshell in one game at Alabama, and that was good Milroe and bad Milroe. And when he's good, he can be spectacular,
right?
And his ball placement, except for the one interception that he threw, where he had a ball sail on him on a third down play when he was trying to hit Jeremy Bernard, was outstanding. He threw the deep ball well, should have had either a touchdown or should have set up a short touchdown. I'm not quite sure if he would have broke the point or not, to Ryan Williams, which Ryan Williams dropped. Ryan Williams probably had the worst half of his freshman season in the Iron Bowl with that drop on the deep ball. He also fumbled a third down completion on the first drive where Milroe had moved the chains to Josh Cuevas, then was going to move him again to Ryan Williams, but Ryan fumbled the football. Then he slipped down on an end around. But I thought, except for that one throw, I thought from a passing standpoint, Milroe was really good. But the ugly, though, was, again, he had the interception. Then he had 2 more fumbles. And in each situation, certainly Caden Proctor got beat on the pass rush, but he held the ball too long. He doesn't seem to have that clock in his head. He should have got rid of the football or taken off. And then on the second fumble, it was a situation where you tip your hat to Auburn. They did a good job on the third down play where it was under center, and Alabama was trying to move the chains and throw the ball out in the flat to the tight end on a little waggle, and they took it away. I mean, they took away the read. So Milroe did what he had to do. He reversed field, but he should have just north and southed it and squared his shoulders and got the yard or two to move the chains. But instead, he tried to break it outside. He likes to dip outside, and he took a hit from behind and fumbled the football, and Auburn got it. And then as far as from the Auburn side, ugly, like I'll just say this, that I don't understand.
Play calling?
Well, I was going to say that's more my bad. The ugly was the one play call, like, and you can say it was a play call, but I just think overall you have to be smarter. Like when they tried to do the gadget play with the throwback with Jarquez Hunter, to me, Hunter's got to make that read, and if it's not there, just eat it and take off. Don't throw the ball. I don't think it was there, and so I think and I thought that was an ugly play. And then, but again, I just think overall that Alabama, there's a lot more good than bad. I thought Milroe played well. Right. He ran the ball with authority. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. And I thought, other than that, and I thought they didn't have a lot of penalties. They stayed committed to the running game. We saw 28 carries from Jam Miller, 17 from Milroe. They were able to control the line of scrimmage, which is the best way you win the Iron Bowl. And then but I thought if you want to say bad, I thought, Alabama, with the turnovers, I thought 4 turnovers. You can't do that. And then, like I said, the ugly, and I don't know that there was an ugly for Alabama, but that for Auburn, I just felt like it's 28-14. You don't I don't even think you call that throwback. I just thought you'd conventionally attack.
Yeah.
And I thought that was ugly for Auburn. I thought that cost them any chance in the game.
And I think
sealed it for Alabama.
Going into the locker room at the end of the first half, mismanaged there near the goal line for Auburn.
Didn't trust his quarterback, and that's kind of a bad.
I think that kind of summed it up all right there. Is the fact that you have a chance to get a touchdown right before the half.
Yeah,
and you are 3 yards away, 4 yards away. You take a timeout, then you have to take a delay a game. Then you end up taking a delay a game on purpose.
He took the delay a game on purpose because he didn't trust his quarterback.
Right.
I mean, they got to the 1 yard line. Alabama stuffed them, and then they tried to go tempo. And they tried to, and again, I didn't really, Hugh at the in the press conference said he regretted doing it. I didn't necessarily think it was a bad move because you're trying to get the ball to Hunter. But again, Alabama stuffed it. Jihad Campbell did a great job. And then I knew that I just had a feeling. I was like, he's not going to go for it here. He's going to call a timeout and probably kick. And then he did. They took the delay game. They tried to draw Alabama off. Alabama was disciplined. And then they kick it. But, I mean, that was part of the good, though. I got to give Ian Vachon credit again. Shout out to our Madison Academy kid. He missed the 39-yarder, which was part of the bad for Auburn early, but he was part of the good. I mean, he kicked 2 field goals in his first Iron Bowl. He did his job. It's just one of those things where Auburn all year, they had red zone trouble.
No, they did. They did.
And that's where that's the other ugly for Auburn to me. Besides that halfback pass, I just thought Auburn's red zone offense was really ugly. They couldn't get it done. And Thorne threw for 300 yards, but I just felt like overall their red zone offense was brutal. And I just think, and part of the bad too is why Hunter, at halftime, he had 10 carries for 55 yards.
Yes.
Why they got away from giving him touches, I don't understand. I mean, give Alabama credit. They were stopping the run, I guess, and giving them looks. And when, Jason Caldwell, our good friend, made a good point. Hunter got off to a great start. I mean, he was averaging over 10 yards a carry, and then Alabama started kind of shutting that down as the first half went around. And I guess Hugh and his staff just figured they weren't winning the battle up front. They were going to have to try to make some plays. Yeah. And part of the good for Auburn, and I'm going to tell you what, he will play. We're looking at the NFL here on our television.
Yeah.
DeAndre Lambert-Smith is going to play for a long time. He is absolutely a great player. How in blue hell that James Franklin can let him leave and not pay him? How stupid are you?
No. I mean, he's come down.
What are you doing? Yeah. I mean, you're still a one-loss team that's going to, play in the college football playoff, regardless of the results of the Big Ten championship. And by the way, ugly on my part, here I am telling people in the press box that Penn State and Indiana might be playing for the Big Ten championship because I forgot Oregon was in the Big Ten. That's how stupid college football is now.
Okay. Before we get to the rest of college football, let's check in with both coaches, Coach DeBoer and Coach Freeze. After their Iron Bowl games, here is Coach DeBoer talking about Alabama's resume.
Well, I think, everyone's aware of our schedule, and I don't know the exact stats, but I know we beat 4 top 25 teams throughout the year. And I don't know how many, if anyone's done that. And so, when you talk about the schedule and what it is week to week, it's just a grind. And, having to come back every week, that's really the only conference that has to do that is ours. And, that's what I would say. And, we won 5 of our last 6. And so, playing physical football, I think we've continued to excel in that area. We were what the game's all about. So, I think those are 2, pretty big deals. We beat some high quality teams that are still, out there, I believe, playing some good ball themselves. And, then just winning 5 of the last 6 at that back half of the season.
That's Coach DeBoer. Here is Coach Freeze.
Very frustrating. That's what will set in your stomach, that we didn't score in the opportunities that we had. And a few calls here and there, the trick play, the 3rd and 1 tempo, all of those you second guess yourself all the time on things like that, because, we could have made that 28-21 there Would love to have seen what would have happened. Certainly not saying it would have won the game, but it would have made it interesting for sure.
There you go. Coach Freeze and Coach DeBoer.
Well, but I will say Bray Hubbard made the interception. His emergence has been key for Alabama. I mean, he's done an amazing job since coming in for Keon Sabb. And I thought it was one of the better games, too, for Malachi Moore. I mean, he played very physical football, very passionate football. And, again, we've seen this in too many games. But, you know, we had someone text in. Another part of the ugly was – and this was in all over college football, man.
Yeah.
There was fights in just about every game we saw, all the big games. And I thought that was very poorly officiated in the Iron Bowl because, granted, Alabama, got into an altercation on the Auburn bench, but not call offsetting personal fouls when I'm sitting there because Alabama's press box is right behind the Auburn bench,
right?
And there was punches being thrown by Auburn dudes, and they weren't even throwing a flag. I just assumed, okay, it was very unfortunate. I didn't want to see it happen at all because, first of all, Alabama had control of the game. There had just been a drop by Malcolm Simmons. It was 28-6. And secondly, you don't want to see any kind of incident like that.
No.
But I just thought in a situation like that, you offset it and then you keep playing. I couldn't believe they acted like Alabama was the instigator and then threw two flags on Alabama and none on Auburn. Just settle the situation down and offset it. Now, Alabama overcame it. Auburn scored on that drive, and I thought it might be a turning point in the game. But luckily, for the Crimson Tide, they stepped up and they did control the clock in the fourth quarter. While they didn't score, they were able to run about 5 minutes of the clock off. And it was very difficult for Auburn. And then they did a good job. Burnham did punting, pinning Auburn deep, and they played field position football. But I'll just say this, and this is ugly across college football because we saw the fight in the Florida State game.
Yeah, those
planning to get a flag. The same thing, Ohio State, Michigan. It was unfortunate to see that happen across our game.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll talk more about that. That had a lot to do with some of the chaos that happened around college football on Saturday. We also had college football craziness on Friday as well. We got a lot of stuff to get through, and we've only just begun. Plus, we got to get your phone calls as well, 256-576-4977. It's Talking Ball from Bill Penny Toyota.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They updated that wreck in Decatur, 20 eastbound near the Beltline as an injury type. Had one on right out just south of 565. They canceled the injury part of it. May still be causing some problems headed into the Arsenal. And we got one in Jackson County, 79 northbound at County Road 114. Not sure about injury there. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Neck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Rich Eisen here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join us all season long as we get you ready for primetime NFL action every Monday night. Along with Kevin Harlan, Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner, and the entire Westwood One team will take you inside the locker rooms and the stadiums for exclusive previews and all the play-by-play action. Every week on Monday Night Football.
Right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Hello, listeners. I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well to try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events. At Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back into the program on a Monday morning. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota. He's sitting out here in the service department. Let's go out to the phone lines, 256-576-4977. Mark from Spring Hill is with us. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, morning, guys. Roll Tide on that big win. Just want to get y'all's thoughts on really well, instead of, I don't want to do the good, bad, and ugly for me. It's more about what's coming up for Alabama. And I just want your thoughts on I looked at the strength of schedule. ESPN puts out a sort of a power index. And did you guys know that Alabama's would be ranked number 2 in the country if you look at the power strength of schedule? Boise State's 84th. It's amazing when you break down. The committee will look at this. I want to just bring this up. I know there's a lot of people who still may think Alabama is not deserving. I really still believe Alabama has a decent chance of making the playoffs with the strength of schedule in particular. And also South Carolina is a team that Alabama beat, and they have the 3rd strongest strength of schedule in the top 20. So I don't know if y'all want to look that up. It's power rankings. It gives, and I know the committee will have that in that room on that Saturday or whenever they do their, or I guess Sunday selection show. So Drew, I know you'll be asked a lot about this. Your thoughts on Alabama and have they done enough? And but more than that, is it if they don't put them in, is it going to make it where teams in the SEC will start playing cupcakes for their non-conference games?
I don't see them playing cupcakes, and a lot of those schedules have been set years in advance. Right. But here's what I see. I think Alabama's got a pretty good case, but I think they need a little bit more help. I don't think Miami matches up with Alabama resume-wise. I don't really give a damn that the Canes only have 2 losses. They played nobody.
Right.
Okay. I think choking like they did at Syracuse and not even making the ACC championship game, they don't even have a case.
Well, there's SMU and Clemson because the committee said they don't want to penalize teams for losing in their conference championship game. So if Clemson would fall,
Clemson's done. Okay, if they don't win it, they have to win it to get in, Scott, because they lost to South Carolina. They've already got 3 losses. You give them 4. They're not getting in to the college football playoff with 4 losses.
So Clemson, if Clemson beats SMU,
that's what I was about to say. Okay. Alabama, they need a little bit more help. They need the ACC to be a 1-bid league.
Right.
So to me, because if Clemson wins, they're in. They're a 3-loss, but they're a conference champion. Then it would come down to you'd be looking at SMU and Alabama. I still think Alabama has a better resume than SMU, but there would be people saying that SMU made the ACC championship game. They'd only lost 2 games. They lost to a good BYU team.
Right.
They lost to Clemson on a neutral field. They'd be trying, and Alabama would have 3 losses. For Alabama to feel much stronger and better about it, I think you need SMU to beat Clemson And then that's a one bid league for the ACC. And I think the Big 12 is going to be a one bid league now. And so
Notre Dame is in. So
and they have a good enough resume, even though their schedule isn't great. But I think Alabama would be the fourth team in from the SEC because I think they've got three that are locks. Once Georgia rallied against Georgia Tech, and of course they were already going to be in the SEC championship game, but you got Texas, who knocked out Texas A&M, and I think that was big for Alabama. Get rid of Texas A&M, they're done. They've got 4 losses. So you've got Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee locked in.
Yes, those are 3. There's no guarantee the SEC is getting 4.
Man, and right now, my top 3 for SEC Coach of the Year, and I know what I said in Dallas, that if Billy Napier won 7 with that schedule, I'd vote him Coach of the Year.
Right.
I wasn't anticipating Shane Beamer winning 9 and winning his last 6. So to me, it would be Shane Beamer, Billy, and then Clark Lee for getting Vandy to a bowl game when a lot of people thought Vandy would be Mississippi State, and that would be Ofer.
Yes.
But I will just say this. There is no way that you can justify South Carolina being in over Alabama, okay? And, we're going to have Jake Crane on here in a little bit, and Jake was saying it comes down to who's playing better. You could say South Carolina's playing better football, right? But then there's also the head-to-head. The head-to-head has to matter, okay? In that situation, if you have the same record, it has to matter.
How
Alabama
much does it
beat South Carolina?
Does it trump everything? Does it trump South Carolina beating Vanderbilt? Does it trump South Carolina?
Yes. No matter what the hell you say, yes. They beat them head-to-head. So let's stop doing the Democratic BS. It matters, okay?
So if we had the BCS standings right now, and if the BCS standings took 12 teams into the college football playoffs, if we used the BCS standings that we used forever to take 2, if we use them to take 12 right now, these would be the 12 teams that would make the college football playoffs. Oregon would be 1, Texas would be number 2, followed by Notre Dame at 3, Penn State 4, Georgia at 5. Ohio State would be 6.
Where's Oregon?
Oh, my bad. Oregon is 1, Texas is 2. Notre Dame is 3, Penn State 4, Georgia 5, Ohio State 6. SMU 7, Tennessee 8, Indiana 9, Boise State 10, Alabama 11, and South Carolina 12.
But, and again, and I would say this.
That's if we use the BCS system.
Alabama had beaten Vanderbilt but lost to South Carolina in a close game,
right,
I would be saying Carolina was in and Alabama had no shot, all right? I'm not – it's not just because it's the University of Alabama, but head-to-head has to matter. I don't care because, see, it's stupid to say, well, they played over a month ago, so you can't really – yeah, you can, stupid, because they played each other. So stop trying to change the rules because you want to get a team in that you never thought had a chance in Hades of getting in before the season. Well, but, gosh, what a great story they are. They've won 6 games in a row. Don't you think we have – no, you don't. And I understand that LSU, should have probably lost to them, and the officiating was horrible. But heck, Alabama had games where they played where the officiating was an abomination, especially in that crap hole known as Neyland Stadium, where they didn't get any calls against Tennessee. So don't cry me a river on that. South Carolina had their chances to beat Alabama, and they didn't. And so to me, and again, would I like to see 5 SEC teams get in? Yes, but it's not going to happen because Notre Dame played a weak schedule and Notre Dame only lost 1 game. So Notre Dame's going to get in. Okay. That's just the way it is. So
what about Ohio State?
Ohio State should still be in. Ryan Day's a horrendous coach. As far as big game coach, he's not a bad football coach. He's got a great record, but in big games, we just need to start calling him Sauce because he chokes on sauce. That's
lost
what he does.
To Oregon this year, 1 lost to the unthinkable losing to Michigan.
He lost 2 close games, but losing to Michigan at home and then losing to Oregon the way they did, it's just horrendous. And they spent $20 million on their roster and they still can't win these games. And that's a Michigan team that wasn't even good. It was just mediocre at best. And Wink Martindale and that defense shut down the high-powered Buckeyes. And you got to believe Kyle McCord of Syracuse is just laughing his head off because he ends up leading the nation in passing at Syracuse. When I think they ended up, 9-3?
Yeah.
And then Will Howard, his replacement, doesn't outperform him and is in tears in the press conference afterward because they lose to Michigan again. So you kind of blamed it on McCord last year. Well, no, I think you need to look at the head coach. And I mean, he's basically John Cooper's brother.
And once again, Ohio State not in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, and, I'll say this. If it wasn't for the expanded playoff, Ryan Day probably would have got fired on the way back to the locker room. But, they've got another shot because they're going to be in. I mean, you and I talked about this. I mean, Indiana, Ohio State, and then Penn State and Oregon are in. I mean, to me, they're all 4 in. So the Big Ten is going to get 4 teams. They'd already separated themselves, and now it comes down to is Alabama going to be the 4th SEC team to me, because I don't think South Carolina has a case. They just don't. And to be honest with you, I don't think Miami does, because Miami played nobody. I don't even think Miami beat a ranked team. Okay, I think I saw that this weekend. Miami,
no, I don't think they did.
A ranked team
either.
And they beat Florida, who ended up being decent, but that was early in the year on the road. And I'm sorry, but and you and I both know, speaking of officiating, if it wasn't for dubious officiating, Miami would have 4 or 5 losses.
No, they would have lost to Cal, and they would have lost to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. And Vandy beat Virginia Tech.
No, they didn't. Their losses were to Syracuse, Syracuse and Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
they lost 2 out of their last 3.
Yeah.
Did Miami. They lost to Georgia Tech, then beat a Wake team, and then lost to Syracuse. That's how they finished the year.
And you can say Alabama's got a couple of questionable losses, no doubt, to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, but at least they're bowl teams. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So both of them are going to be in postseason play. And then, and both of them were on the road. Alabama was perfect at home and did a great job. And again, I think with Alabama and South Carolina, and I applaud the heck out of the year that South Carolina's had, but it just comes down to me to head. And Alabama beat South Carolina in a really good football game. At the time, we didn't realize how good South Carolina was.
Right.
And so, again, I credit Shane Beamer and the job they've done. And I think the Gamecocks, I think he's coach of the year. I mean, for, nearly winning 10 games in a season when nobody in this expanded SEC, nobody saw that coming.
Wolverine Dan with us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Well, gentlemen, something big happened over the weekend, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Drew, I agree. We are a mediocre team right now. But, Drew, I will argue with this. If we have, and we're going to get, a superstar quarterback, if we had a very good quarterback, this team very well could not be mediocre. It could possibly be in the playoffs. Don't you agree?
Well, we'll see. I mean, Ohio State put together an all-star roster, and they're going to be in the playoff, but they didn't even win the Big Ten. So it doesn't always work, but, credit to Michigan for getting it done. And they certainly are trying to step up their NIL and step up their recruiting in the end of this cycle. And so certainly they're trying to bring in some star power and certainly trying to get better. No question about that.
Well, and you know what? There is more control now on it being on the outside, because if you have the money, you can have the team. And that's how it's going to, that's how it plays in college football now, which you and I don't like it. And a lot of people that love college football don't like it either. But if you have deep pockets, you should be very successful in the college rankings. Don't you agree?
Well, yeah, but and Alabama's got some pockets, but they're not going to spend as much as some. We'll see. But I also think there's regulation coming in January. I think there's because what's happening right now is not sustainable. It's not sustainable for the long-term health of the game.
No.
And so people are spending money right now, but you better go ahead and do it, because things are going to change. Roster sizes are going to change. And so money's still going to be a big part of it, and revenue sharing. But again, and right now Michigan's going out swinging. And again, it's legal. I'm not saying a word about it. And they finished strong. Good for them. They'll go to a bowl game now. They'll get a chance to finish, with another win and more momentum. And again, they earned the game against Ohio State. There's no excuses. It kind of reminded me of the 2017 Iron Bowl, where except that Auburn team was actually, in playoff contention, and with a win in the SEC championship game would have gone to the playoff. Alabama and Auburn probably both would have gone, but because Auburn beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl, and then Alabama still turned around and won the national championship. But we'll see. Ohio State could still do that, but I just don't see it. I don't see them playing consistent enough ball. Now, they do have the talent to win it, but I just haven't seen them down the stretch playing like cohesive ball where I think they're going to do it. And the point of for me was not being able to win in the shoe against Michigan. I mean, this Michigan team has battled all year, and they're definitely good defensively, but they have not been good on offense. And for Michigan to be able to control that game and beat Ohio State and beat them up, I mean, it's just like I said before you came on, it just reminded me a lot of John Cooper, who coached a long time in Columbus and won a lot of games, but he didn't beat Michigan very much.
Everything you said is true and correct, but we really held them in the fourth. I mean, we
no
had
question.
For almost 14 minutes.
Yeah, I think in the fourth quarter. Yeah, the fourth quarter, I think he had nearly 12 minutes. Yeah, dominating time possession.
Yeah. But the point is this: the team wanted it more. Our coaching staff, and I don't think Day's really that great of a coach. Obviously, you could see, but we'll see how it plays out. But you know what, Drew? I'm telling you, if this kid's a generational game changer, I'm speaking of our quarterback. Everybody needs to watch out, because we can get right back in it. Don't you agree?
I mean, we'll see. Look, Dan, I've been through it with quarterbacks that are supposed to be generational and game changing and supposed to be the first pick in the draft. I've seen them live up to it. I've seen Bryce Young do that. I've seen Tua Tagovailoa do it, and I've seen Blake Barnett, and I've seen many others that have not lived up to the expectation. And been big time players and been draft picks, and especially at Alabama. So
and now it depends on how many guys decide to leave though in the portal. I mean, there may be guys that leave a roster that you think will be there, but they get greener pastures or more money to leave.
Well, no, and then sometimes it's about when you arrive at a place. Because I watched Bo Nix in high school and thought he was big time, and then he went to Auburn and he was up and down. Then he goes to Oregon. More stability, better supporting cast, and he becomes what I thought, which was a first-round pick. And now he's having a great rookie year with the Denver Broncos. Now, a lot of it's going to be, Dan, what you surround Bryce Underwood with.
Yes,
a quarterback can't wave his arms and elevate everybody. You've got to have good personnel around the quarterback, and that's going to be up to Sherrone Moore and the staff at Michigan to fix that part of it too, because they need to also upgrade their talent.
Well, real quickly before I roll, guys, I know it's not bowl season. Well, it's almost bowl season.
Yeah.
What bowl do you think they might go to, Michigan, I'm speaking of, and could they make the Music City Bowl?
I don't know. I'd have to look at that to find out the projection. I don't know yet.
At all the bowl projections. Yeah, we've been too busy focusing on the playoff field, Dan. We'll more of that will play itself out
after the Big Ten title game. Then they'll start. The Big Ten will slot where they go.
But I mean, could that be possible? I mean, I'm sure it could. And I mean, that'd be a short trip for you and a chance to see your Wolverines play.
All right, we are up against the break. Thanks for the phone call there, Wolverine Dan. 7:34, we got to get a break in. We are live from Bill Penny Toyota on a Monday.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had a wreck on right out south of 565 at Advanced Gateway. Minor injury there. Highway 20 eastbound at the Beltline in Decatur ended up with a minor injury. And we got one in Scottsboro, 79 northbound at County Road 114 that may still be trying to clear. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go Higher and go Army.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgate. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back on a Monday morning. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota. Don't forget, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, your home for Army football. Number one sports radio station in the Tennessee Valley. We want to send you and a guest to see the 125th edition of America's Game as Army and Navy will meet in our nation's capital on December 14th. All you got to do is send us your patriotic story or tribute. We're going to pick the one, and here's how you do. 977 WZZN events at gmail.com. 977 WCZN events at gmail.com. Send us your letter there. We've gotten some in already, and they are remarkable. But you have until the end of the week to do so. So you better get it in. The sooner you get it in, the better. I would say Thursday. We need them by Thursday or Friday. So get them in there. We want them, and then we'll read them all over. And we will pick them out, and the winner is going to get a pair of tickets. We're going to give you a pair of tickets to go see that game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Army is also in the American Athletic Championship game against our good friend John Summerall and Tulane. I know Tulane didn't get with the result that they wanted, which pretty much ended their college football playoff hopes against Memphis.
I watched that game.
34-24. It was a struggle. Memphis was really good offensively, but still Tulane playing for a championship. And
Army's hosting that game, by the way.
Yeah, in his first year, but it is at Army, which is it's a really cool thing. I mean, it's going to be played on the just off the Hudson and over there on
Mikey Stadium.
Yeah, Mikey Stadium, and that's big for Army. I mean, they've had one heck of a year. They've had a great season, a great bounce back year, and now they get to play for a conference championship, which is at home, which is all that you can ask for. I still think Tulane's probably the better team, but congrats to Army for getting to host that game and earning it.
They got a win over UTSA over the weekend. Let's go out to the phone lines, 256-576-4977. By the way, we're also your home for the college football playoffs, the national championship game, Alabama football, and UAH basketball, which, by the way, we'll talk a little bit because we got that tonight as well. Brandon is with us. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning, Brandon.
Good morning. The good. Ryan Day lost. I think that's funny. Just goes to show you can spend money, but you still got to coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. I mean, he asked for $13 million to build his roster. I think they gave him 20, and he's still gagged.
Hey, at least he beat Indiana.
Yeah, congrats.
Is that really bad when you say that's the signature win? We beat Indiana.
Well, this year,
yeah.
I mean, for Ohio State, that is their best win.
Right,
is against Indiana because they lost to Oregon, and I take that back. They did beat Penn State. They went on the road and beat Penn State. Yeah. So that would be their biggest win of the year, going on the road and beating Penn State.
You beat Indiana and a soft Penn State team that threw away one of the better players in the country. Yeah, that's a hell of a resume.
Well, you can. That's what. I will say though. That's what they're going to get. That's the highlights of their resume is those two wins, as Scott's saying, because those two teams will be in the college football playoff, and it's why Ohio State will still be in. But go ahead, Brandon.
Speaking of the bad. Mars Hill Bible took me for $25 because I actually thought that game was going to be competitive when Piedmont jumped out 7-0 before they came in with an axe handle and just laid everybody to waste. But I would put 100 on South Carolina right now versus Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, you could say they're playing as good as anyone in the country, and I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina could beat Ohio State right now. But again, I just think with the Buckeyes, they started the year highly ranked, and that's sometimes one of those things that's kind of political. And again, I don't necessarily. I'm not even sure that Oregon is the best team in the country, but what I will say is they're undefeated.
Right.
So you have to make them the number one seed, especially if they win the Big Ten championship game. Over Penn State. Now, if they lose the game, it's going to be really interesting to see who the number one seed is. But again, I still think the SEC is a stronger league than the Big Ten. I think those four teams are good. But to be honest with you, though, it shows that they're not SEC good with Michigan being able to knock off Ohio State, because I haven't really been impressed with that Michigan team all year. And Michigan almost beat Indiana too. Michigan lost a 20-15 game, so we'll see. But and that's why I was kind of trying to warn Wolverine Dan, Brandon, that just because you got a lot of money and you buy a roster doesn't mean you're going to win. Most of the time in baseball that doesn't work either.
Right.
Well, and I want to say this lady's name. I don't know exactly how to say it perfectly. The lady that we have who was the national champion, is it Doris Limno? Is that how you say her name?
I don't really know if that's the exact pronunciation, but I did see she was honored at the Iron Bowl.
Oh, is that the cross-country national champion? Yeah. I've done
back-to-back
4 of her races.
Yeah.
And I have gone up to Alabama. And this is a true story.
Okay.
I've gone up to the people that should know how to say her name.
They don't either.
And they're just like, however you can do it, do it.
Okay.
So, yes. So it's yeah.
After 2 national championships back to back, I feel like I ought to at least be able to say her name right once. So I'm going to work on it today.
She's always smiled at me, so I'll say her name and she'll come on the stage and she'll get her because she's won the regional, the NCAA regional cross country. She's won the Southern Showcase events that I've done, and she's always smiled every time that I've said her name. So I must be close. I don't know.
How fast is she? Could I outrun her in my Honda?
No, she's good. She is fantastic. She could out. I don't know.
Wow.
She's fantastic though, and
She's fantastic, but they've had a couple good male cross-country runners. They've a couple guys that have been good, and she's been fantastic on the women's side.
And Francisco Felici, men's wheelchair tennis national champ for Alabama. A little love for that guy right there getting it done last week.
Yeah. Nice. Congratulations to him as well.
I can't play tennis with two good legs. I don't know how I'd play it in a wheelchair. So a lot of admiration for people that do that. So.
Oh, yeah.
Super 7 coming up. Cherokee County is going to make it. Are y'all going to be at any of those games at Birmingham?
I doubt it. I've got to go out of town. I'm going with Huntsville High. We'll be going to Marshall County, Kentucky. And shout out to the Panthers as well. They went back to the Lighthouse Classic in Corinth, Mississippi, and played Jackson Academy and did a nice job beating an unbeaten team, staying undefeated themselves, go to 9-0. They win 55-48. Josh Bowman, 19-6. He was player of the game. And the J.D. Gossett had a nice game with 11. Same way Simon Walker, 11 more. And then I believe he had 8 from Braden Rivers. So some balanced scoring, and hopefully Eli Staples is going to be healthy soon. But, yeah, nice win for the Panthers. But I doubt I'm going to be able to make any of the Super 7. It is only down the road to Birmingham, but probably be trying to watch, Brandon, but I don't think I'll be making it down there this week.
Is it Thursday, Friday, Saturday? I know the flag football's coming up too. So they do the flag football before that,
I think the 7A is usually on Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Because they did not play this past Friday.
Well, you can get in to see Rich Rod for $17.50 Friday night, and I may just make it.
Jacksonville State is hosting Western Kentucky
conference
for the Conference
game,
USA Championship game there at Jacksonville State. We may send our roving reporter Grady the Greek.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know if he's going or not.
Interviewing.
He did.
We need to find out. Hey, Grady, I don't know if you're listening this morning, or I know your dad and your mom probably are, but are you gonna call in Wednesday and give us a pick in the championship game?
We need to send our roving reporter Grady the Greek.
We need a pick in the Conference USA Championship game. We could put you on press row.
We need the 97.7 The Zone suite at Jacksonville Stadium Friday night.
There you go.
That'll be outside for $6.
we got to put Grady in the press box, man.
I don't know.
We got to get him some chicken.
Grady doesn't need to be in the press box. Grady's in a suite. He's been in a suite this whole time.
Okay, well, there you go. Put him in a suite.
Yeah,
with some heaters. Maybe put Brandon in there with him.
I don't know. Anyway, all right, Brandon.
Appreciate it, Brandon.
Thanks for the phone call.
We need to make a pick this week.
By the way, did you see did you see what my Hawkeyes did on Friday?
I did not.
Oh my goodness! They played Nebraska,
right?
And it was another inept performance. However, they got a 13-10 win over the Huskers.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Well, that is the good news.
Right.
Iowa managed a total of 164 yards of offense and 5 first downs in the game.
Good Lord. And they still win.
They still win 13-10. They gave up 334 yards of offense to Nebraska. But Iowa managed 5 first downs in the game. They were 0 for 10 on third down as well. It still managed. I know it's 7:49, baby. We'll slip in Mark from Madison real fast.
What's up, man?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Good morning, sir.
I saw something on the weekend besides the Iron Bowl that the Huntsville area has a new international football team.
Yes, the Beavers.
The Beavers, yeah.
Yeah, the Alabama Beavers. Is this like a arena or is it a minor league NFL? Do you guys know?
It is an outdoor football team that supposedly is going to be played at John Hunt or not John Hunt, but Wicks Family Field there at Joe Davis Stadium. It's an outdoor league. There's teams that are in Mexico. There are teams that are here in the States. It's kind of a mix. That is about all we know of this football team. It's a professional league, but that is all we know.
It could be some interesting merchandising going on for the team.
I would say so. Yes. Yes.
Well, love you guys. Listen to y'all every morning. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, we don't know a ton about the Beavers. We just know that they're playing football. Let's get a break in. Wrap up hour one coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a pedestrian struck by a vehicle on Oak Creek Drive. That's at Oak Creek Circle. That's off Taylor Road, west of 431. Got Highway 20 eastbound at the Beltline. That one reported some injury. They may still be trying to clear up one on Rideout, south of 565 at Advanced Gateway. Snelling needs an HOA manager, a production scheduling assistant, and a waste station operator. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
So we did look during the break, and we found out that the Alabama Beavers actually have a schedule out. Their first game will be Saturday, May 31st at Joe Davis Stadium. They're going to take on the Tampa Bay Tornadoes.
The Tampa Bay Tornadoes, huh?
Yep. And then on Saturday,
I didn't know there was a tornado in Florida.
There is now. In fact, their first two games of the season will be at home. May 31st and June 14th, they're going to take on the Dallas Piñeros.
Okay.
Yep. And then they're going to go on the road where they're going to take on Ohio.
They don't have a mascot.
It doesn't have a mascot there. It just says they're going to take on Ohio. And then they'll be back at home taking on the Baltimore Lightning on June 28th, on Saturday, June 28th. Then they're going to be on the road for 3 games. Their regular season finale will be their home finale against the Rebellion Tarahumara. It's a team out of Mexico, I'd imagine.
Oh, don't drink the water.
But it's going to be, they will travel there on July 19th. I don't know anything more than that. That is all we know. There is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 game schedule for the Alabama Beavers, 4 of which will be at home.
Okay.
So there you go. That's all we can tell you.
Our Beavers update. No, we're not talking about Oregon State.
Boy. It's called the IFA, if anybody wants to know. It's the International Football Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Building the future of the game, uniting the United States and Mexico.
Yeah.
That's locations: Dallas, Tampa, Huntsville, San Antonio, Baltimore, and Ohio Valley. And now it looks like we got some teams. Anyway, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines there. In case you missed it a little bit ago, the Big Ten, by the way, the Big Ten has fined Ohio State and Michigan both $100,000 each.
One of the fights we were talking about.
Yeah, because of flag planting. That was a big debate over the weekend. And in the Michigan-Ohio State game, they not only tried to do it once, but twice. I mean, there was a player from Michigan that did a post-game interview on Fox and said, hey, look, they need to learn how to lose. Basically telling Ohio State they need to learn how to lose. But flag planting, that's a big topic over the weekend. Has it gone too far, or
just celebrate with your team? No need to plant flags on anybody's field. You can of course grab a flag and then
wave it around all day.
Wave your flag, but I don't agree with the planting of the flags. Just celebrate. Understand you won a big game. Michigan earned it. They deserve to win. But I don't think you need to plant a flag just to show you. Everybody knows you've won 4 in a row. I mean, that's well documented.
Yeah.
You don't need to try to show somebody up. There
was multiple games this weekend where that happened.
Yeah, I mean, it causes a lot of conflict. I don't think it should happen.
Yeah, if you take away those flag plantings, we don't have a lot of instances of what we had on Saturday.
I'll just say this: I think
NC State, North Carolina had happened as well.
With these field stormings, I think they should let the visiting team get back to their locker room first before they allow the students to come running on the field, because that causes conflict and certainly did cause some incidences to happen between students and football players, especially Alabama, Tennessee a couple years ago in 2022.
There was pepper spray thrown out there at the Ohio State Michigan game. Right. Just an ugly look to college football and what was a crazy and wild Saturday of entertainment in the college game. Jake Crane will join us at the top of the hour. Get his thoughts on the Iron Bowl and what the college football playoffs may look like when we see the latest rendition of the rankings.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This action update is brought to you by GBank. Earn cashback rewards on every eligible gaming transaction. VSiN.com/GBank.
College basketball, both the Auburn Tigers and the Duke Blue Devils are the betting favorites to win this year's national championship. Auburn and Duke are both plus 1,000, while Gonzaga is at plus 1,100. Kansas, number one in both the AP and the coaches poll, are plus 1,200. Alabama plus 1,500. UConn, which lost 3 games at the Maui Invitational, is at plus 1,500. They're the 2-time defending national champions. NFL, Josh Allen, the betting favorite to win the MVP. The Buffalo Bills quarterback at plus 150. Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens plus 260. Jared Goff plus 500. Running back Saquon Barkley plus 650. For VSiN.com, I'm Tony Desiri, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Big thank you. Big thank you to SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, helping us kick off hour number 2 here of Talking Ball live from Bill Penny Toyota. Complete care, SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, 256-881-5151. They can help you experience that SportsMed difference. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit because they are the official training providers for the UAH Chargers, and we'll have UAH basketball coming your way tonight. Coming up later this week, we will have on Tuesday at 6 o'clock is the next to the last college football playoff rankings. Those will come out on Tuesday. Then on Sunday at 11 a.m. from 11 to 3, you're going to get the Selection Day show on Sunday for the college football playoff rankings. Where will Alabama slide? Where will they fall? Will they move up? Will they be in the 12? All of that we don't know, but we'll figure it out as we go, thanks to Alabama being able to secure that Iron Bowl win on Saturday over the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama's still alive. I still think they need some help. But again, they're going to be in the conversation. South Carolina, with the way they've played in the last 6 weeks, has put themselves squarely in it. Ole Miss, I think, would have been in if they had not, fallen short against Florida. But that's, another story for another day. It's just one of those things where I still think they might be the most talented team in the SEC. But they have a huge win over South Carolina in Columbia that causes argument. But Lane Kiffin answered his own question, saying that their out-of-conference schedule earlier in the year was not good. So I think that's why Alabama and South Carolina are getting more buzz. But we're certainly going to talk about the Iron Bowl result and the SEC and the college football playoff rankings coming up with our next guest. Of course, he will be on from 2 to 3:30 later this afternoon. It will be Crane and Company via the Real Daily Wire, and he's going to bring his weekly segment with us right now, and we always enjoy catching up with Jake Crane. Jake, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. It's been a very interesting, into the regular season in college football, a crazy one, which is, I think, what everybody's been wanting. But I hope you had a good weekend, man. How are you?
Oh man, I'm fantastic. I hope you guys did as well. Hope everybody else did out there listening. Also, yeah, this has been the most chaotic / fun regular season of college football that I can remember. You look at obviously the expansion of the playoff. Even if you have a game where both the teams aren't in it, but one of them is trying to stay in it, it adds so much drama. I mean, look at the way that Vanderbilt Tennessee game started. I know there are a lot of Tennessee fans that were really, really worried. You look at Miami losing to Syracuse. You look at obviously what happened with Ohio State, Michigan. There's just so much on the line, and it does remind you of the end of the year for college basketball. If you're a bubble team that's trying to fight your way in, all the dramatics and romantics that go along with that. It's just happens to be in the best sport of all time.
Thoughts on the Iron Bowl on Saturday?
Well, I don't know how you cause 4 turnovers and you're in the red zone 4 times and you're down by 14. This Auburn team has just found a way to not find a way outside of Texas A&M. Bottom line is Alabama's a better team. I thought that the game plan once again was baffling to me. I don't understand why Hugh Freeze continues to call plays like he has Cam Ward and not Peyton Thorne. I just I don't understand. It's not that you want to shrink the whole playbook, but if you got a team that can't shoot threes in basketball, you don't need to probably have a game plan that's the exact same as the Golden State Warriors in their heyday. This Peyton Thorne, and it's more than Peyton Thorne, right? There's other problems that Auburn has, but he's just not good enough for you to put it on his shoulders. We saw that again this weekend against Alabama. The play calling has got to be more tailored to who the talented players are on the team. You got to go get a quarterback that can do it, number one, or none of it's going to work. If you're Alabama, you hung on, you kept yourself alive in the college football playoff. We're going to see how they're going to treat South Carolina and Ole Miss and Alabama here at the end. What happens with Miami now that they have that second loss? So it's a wild time right now.
It is. And what are your thoughts? I mean, again, the floor is yours. I have my thoughts and opinions. I respect yours. I know you tweeted out or posted last night that with South Carolina and Alabama, it's about South Carolina, how well they've played the last 6 weeks, but then there's also the head-to-head between South Carolina and Alabama. And I responded with, I think the head-to-head has to matter, but how do you compare them to Miami? With Miami, I just question the schedule strength.
Yeah, well, Miami's defense couldn't stop a nosebleed in the nurse's office. I mean, if they play that, they'd have to score 70 points, to beat Alabama and South Carolina. Not that Cam Ward and them couldn't find a way, possibly, a couple out of 10 times. I don't think Miami needs to be in. Here's the way I go about it. I actually think this is pretty cut and dry in some of these instances, and I don't care who you're a fan of, who you root for on Saturdays. If we have the luxury of having a head-to-head game with teams that have equal records and somewhat similar strength of schedule, even in the same stratosphere, you got to take the head-to-head. So look, I'm from Auburn, Alabama. I would love nothing more than to sit here and tell you that Alabama shouldn't be in. But I think if we're going to have a conversation between Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina, and they're all 9-3, and we have head-to-head on 2 out of the 3, meaning that Bama and Ole Miss beat South Carolina, I think it comes down to Bama and Ole Miss if it's for one spot. That's the real conversation to me. If we're not going to count head-to-head, I don't care how good you're playing right now. That should be one of the smaller ingredients that goes in, because if you're only going to weigh the back half of the schedule, or it weighs more than the front half, why do we even count the front half? Why do we even play the games? Why would we have rankings before the last week of the season then? So if you put it all in a pot and there's one spot left, and it's Alabama, it's Ole Miss, and South Carolina. Ole Miss went on the road and beat South Carolina to death. Alabama, they did barely beat South Carolina, but they still beat them. Head-to-head has to matter. It is a luxury at this point at the end of the year to have that as the deciding factor, because if not, look at Alabama and Ole Miss, right? Who are you going to take between those two? I think you can make a logical case for both. I think they both have quality wins. I think they both have bad losses. I think they're both around the same in the strength of schedule. That, to me, is a harder argument, and it can be more subjective of who is playing better now as opposed to Alabama and South Carolina, who we have a head-to-head decision on. So I have people saying, well, we got to look at the full body of work. Well, yes, we do. But you have to, if you're going to take the full body of work, you got to take the full body. You can't look at the back half of the body, as bad as we all want to, and just take that. So to me, that's where I sit on it, guys.
If Clemson goes on and wins the ACC and they get the bid they'll get the automatic bid, does SMU then still make the playoffs?
So this is where it's going to get thick, right?
Yeah,
because Indiana's in at 11-1. They're not playing in the Big Ten championship. They're going to be in. The teams that I think we are questioning right now that don't control their own destiny, right? Because Clemson does control their own destiny. Oh, and not only that, they could finish probably with a top 4 seed in the bye. Is what happens to SMU? What happens to Miami? And they're both in the ACC. I still think the ACC is only going to get one. But if you're Alabama, you want SMU to win this game.
Yes,
you want
agreed.
The the team that would be least questioned, right, at 11-1, as opposed to Clemson being the team with that third loss in the championship, or excuse me, that fourth loss in the championship game. So I want to say no. I think they would take Bama over SMU if Clemson wins.
And that's my take as well. If I'm at Alabama, I'd want SMU to win to feel better about it. It assures there'll be a one-bid league. There would be no controversy at all. And so that's, if you're Alabama, you got to be rooting for Rhett Lashley and SMU. But to circle back to Auburn, I agree with you on the game plan. I was mystified in the second half why Jarquez Hunter wasn't given the ball more as a runner and receiver. I didn't really get it. I bet the play call with the throwback as far as the halfback pass, I still don't understand that either. I don't think he trusted his quarterback at the end of the half when I felt like they probably should have gone for it and not kicked the field goal. But I think that's been kind of a love-hate thing all year with his QB Peyton Thorne. But now that we go into this offseason, I know you had a take on your social media that it's time for Hugh Freeze and Auburn to step up. The results have to get better. What's the biggest keys? I would assume quarterback in the transfer portal, but I also look at their depth chart, Jake, and Jarquez Hunter and Keandre Lambert-Smith were their two best players, and they're gone. To me, I know their recruiting class, the high school class, is going to be really good, but this portal class is really important for Auburn.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to go in the portal like Raiden from Mortal Kombat this offseason. Like this is it. Like this is year 3. You can't go out here and lay another egg, dog. You can't come out here and look dysfunctional and bring in a quarterback that's a mid-level G5 player, regardless of how many times his dad's messaged me on Twitter asking for me to be nicer to him when I'm trying to tell the truth about him. But it's multiple things. I think the offensive line too. I think you look at the tackle position, Auburn's got to upgrade there. Defensively, there's some really nice young pieces. I think they still need to add a couple more guys, including in that front 7. But there's something to build on that I think they could continue to put out a good defensive product. But yeah, you got to go get the best players possible, man. You got to go do it. You got to open the checkbook. You can't win 5 next year. You can't win 6 next year. You can't lose to Bama and Georgia again. Or you can't lose to Vandy or New Mexico State or Scout Troop D14, whatever. You got to start putting a product on the field that looks better than what this has been. As far as what you were saying, it's funny, Drew, we're sitting here saying he doesn't trust his quarterback. You built the game plan around him like he was Peyton Manning. So either you really trust him, or then you have these bipolar moments where it just makes sense and you're like, oh no, I don't trust him. But if you're not man enough to line up from the 3-yard line in the Iron Bowl or getting the red zone multiple times and score, you don't deserve to win. You deserve to lose. And that's been Auburn's problem. You got to get some winners in there, man. And it starts at the quarterback position. You can say what you want, and we can try and just all be nice and hold hands and talk about rainbows and fun secrets. But at the end of the day, winners win and losers lose. There needs to be a transition. Nick Saban did it at Bama. Kirby Smart did it at Georgia. You got to get the losers out and the winners in. It's that simple. It's like old boy said in Glengarry Glen Ross. Hey, if you win first place, you get a new Cadillac. Second place, steak knives. Third place, you're fired.
Well, you mentioned you're fired. Hugh Freeze said year 3 was the year. I mean, he's put a lot of eggs into year 3. That's next year. If he doesn't get those winners in, is year 3 it for Hugh Freeze?
Well, I mean, I'll give you a 50% chance. That's the way I see it right now. Because and this is what's hard about project. It's even harder to project now. This is why we don't do our predictions until literally right after fall camp. With the transfer portal, I don't know who's going. I don't know who's going. I don't know who's coming. You just walk in the house. It's a different family every day. It's like the Trading Spouses skit on the Chappelle Show. It's just a different family every day. You don't know what you're going to get. So I think Hugh Freeze can fix it, but it starts with bringing in a quarterback that can actually do it, which if you bring in an attractive quarterback, you can get better players. I'm not talking about looks. And I think maybe we need an ugly guy. I think maybe that's what Auburn needs. some ugly country guy to come in here and fix it, as opposed to these guys on cologne commercials we keep bringing in here.
Well, and quarterback is obviously the first priority. But do you see with the way the depth chart stacks up right now, do you see running back and left tackle? Is that the other two biggest needs right now? And I know defensively, I agree with you. I think they've got a lot of good young pieces. I think a lot of those guys played the second half of the year. But is there any other need defensively as well that they need to address in the portal in your mind?
I think defensively, you just go get best available.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's as position specific as offense is. Running back. Look, running back it's incredibly important. I'm not downplaying the importance of running back, but I'm never really going to worry about running back at Auburn. I mean, look at what happened with Texas. Like, their top two running backs went down, and the Wizard kids dropping 200 with Cajun fries and a honey biscuit in the biggest game of the year. I think we'll have a back. You need quarterback and offensive line, because that makes everything better. Right? It's like sugar. It makes everything better. You can put it in cake. Heck, you can put it on a burger. It doesn't matter. It makes everything better. That's what Auburn needs from a specific position standpoint.
Wow.
Yeah, I would agree, because they didn't upgrade at quarterback, and Thorne was good, not great, and then Percy Lewis was a bust. Now Keandre Lambert-Smith, he was spectacular. I think he's going to be a 10-year pro. I mean, because Jake, look, that was my first time seeing him in the Iron Bowl live. I watched him on TV, but when you see that kid on the field, he's amazing. Quite frankly, I know you probably discussed this on Craning Company. How does James Franklin let him get out of State College? That's what my question is.
Dude, I don't know. And again, I mean, Penn State's gone 11-1. I don't understand how you look at him and you're like, you're the problem. That doesn't really I don't know exactly what went down there. Maybe, he was tired of it and something. I don't know, but I just don't. I'm watching this guy play, and he's an NFL player. I mean, he's question. An absolute NFL. But here's my question: you can play for 30 years in college now. Come on, can we get? Hey, did somebody say COVID? Oh no, he's got to stay for a 7th year.
Yeah.
Jake, who would be your SEC coach of the year?
Yeah.
It's easy to sit here and go, well, Stark, Stark came in year 1, win 11. I think this is a perfect year, though, to give it to a guy that turned a program around. How's it not Clark Lee? How's it not Clark Lee? Yeah. You beat Bama at Vanderbilt. You should already probably be the Attorney General of the United States after doing that. I think that, if you want the job. But I mean, I think it's the perfect year for the guy who kind of turned the program around. You guys beat Bama, all right? You almost beat Texas at home. You beat Auburn on the road. It's just incredibly impressive. Give me Clark Lee.
Yeah, because, I mean, they were supposed to be Mississippi State. In other words, not win a league game. So they end up in a bowl game, which is huge for them. No question about it. Well, Jake, we appreciate it. And by the way, one more question, because I saw you announced it on your social media. How was the fried turkey? Did it work?
It was historic. Epic.
Really?
I mean, look, I tell you what, man, if you've ever had a fried turkey and you've ever done it, I don't think you will ever have a Thanksgiving without one. It's just frying makes everything better. Like I said, it's like sugar. Are you kidding me? It was absolutely amazing. My uncle, just an absolute savage with the peanut oil. Come and get it, RFK Jr.
Great stuff. From 2 to 3:30.
Never had the fried turkey.
Via the Real Daily Wire on YouTube. We always appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. And again, we'll be catching up after the college football playoff rankings next week.
Sounds good, guys. I'm sure everybody's going to be really receptive and not upset about the rankings.
No, not at all. Everybody's going to agree with them 100%.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, everybody's going to, when those rankings come out on Tuesday, everybody's going to be kosher with them. They're not going to say one word about it. Everyone's going to be.
You know what? I've never had a fried turkey, and I saw.
I've never had that. I've smoked them all, but I've never had a fried turkey.
I need to try one of these days.
Got to find someone to do it, though. I don't want to put that stuff. I don't want to. I mean,
don't want to blow it up.
I ain't gonna blow up the neighborhood. Be like, boom,
boom.
Oh man, I've eaten too much though the last 4 days.
I imagine.
My wife said no more turkey, no more stuff. We're done with Thanksgiving
I keep
food.
Like, even though you guys probably only have 2 people, you make enough food for like 20.
I did. I'd say 30, but
30,
yeah. Oh, we had so much food for 2 people.
So
it was ridiculous.
Are you gonna feed Mick and them?
No, it was ridiculous.
Wow.
We got to get a break in. We'll talk UAH basketball. We'll mention that because the women played on Saturday and they put up a record number. We'll explain it all. We'll talk about UAH men. We'll play. We'll talk some more coming up in a minute.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on Winchester at Swaim Circle. That one's coming in as an injury type. Picked up one on Shorter at Kane in Madison. Looks like they've canceled Himsey on it. Got a pedestrian hit by a vehicle on Springgate Lane at Cecil Ashburn. And we had Oak Drive at Oak Creek, or Oak Creek Drive at Oak Creek Circle. Cooler temps are here. Don't get caught without heat. D&L Refrigeration can check your system before it's too late. Ask about discounts for military, law enforcement, and seniors. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Neck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I screw up sometimes, silly.
Okay, almost everything.
Come on, pal. Tell your fortune.
Log on today. 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, welcome back.
We're
Talking
getting a lot
ball.
of feedback on this fried turkey stuff.
I've never had a fried turkey.
It's pretty much consensus. Everybody's sending us, telling us fried is the way to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I've brined a turkey and I've put it in the big green egg because that's what I have. You know, I cook them on the big green egg, and I think they're spectacular. But I've never ventured to frying a turkey. Now, albeit I don't have the setup to fry a turkey at home.
Oh.
So, I mean, that's partially. I mean, I can go out and get a propane tank, but that's not a problem.
You don't want to blow something up,
I just don't have the pot, or I don't have the setup to fry a turkey at home.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, that's part of it. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. We got a comment on YouTube that says, ask Drew about eating 4 hot dogs in the press box.
Yeah, I had 4 hot dogs in the press box.
You ate 4 hot dogs?
2 at halftime, 2 in the third and fourth quarter. Okay. That's what I had.
4 hot dogs.
Because I had my pregame was only barbecue with no sides, nothing else.
Why didn't you have sides?
Because I didn't like them.
Carrots?
Hell no. Not a carrot person. That's Gary Harris.
So you're not green beans.
No. Can't
and
stand
carrots.
Beans, can't stand carrots. Can't do it. Nope.
You're just not a veggie guy.
Not too much. So And they ran out of barbecue sauce, so I wasn't going to put vinaigrette on friggin' barbecue.
You didn't carry any Uncle Keith's with you?
No, that I regretted. I should have carried. I did use some mustard. Found some mustard. But I did see our boy Brian Matthews in the press box and thank him once again.
There you go. He'll have to join us and talk about the ineptitude that was the Auburn red zone offense.
Yeah, that's what he wants to talk about, the red zone offense, the lack of a plan.
But you know what, though, and I know people will sit there and they'll look at it and say,
Right.
well, Auburn didn't have a great plan. It wasn't just Saturday.
Right.
It was over a 12-game stretch. You become who you are. Going into that game, Auburn we talk about how Jalen Milroe's up and down. The Auburn offense as a whole was like that. They would have moments where they would play really well, and then they would have moments where they would play really bad, and it became who they were the whole entire year. And Hugh Freeze can blame the play calling. He can blame Peyton Thorne, but ultimately he's the head coach. It falls back on him.
Well, I just think overall, I didn't really understand Auburn's offense all year from the standpoint of why they didn't feed Hunter more. I think almost Hugh put too much on the quarterback. In other words, letting him make the RPO reads. I think it's too RPO dependent, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And of course, that means you got to have great players at every spot. But again, even his offenses at Ole Miss at times were hit and miss because of that.
Yes.
I don't think they run the ball enough. I've never thought he did because I think you got to create balance. I think he creates too much. First of all, he wants a dual threat quarterback, and Thorne had some mobility, but he's not a true dual threat. He wants you to have to account for the QB. And then, he depends on the QB to make reads off the RPO, and then for the wide receivers to win battles.
Yeah.
So,
you can look, and Georgia does the same thing with Carson Beck.
But and then I'll just
they
say
ask
this
him
too.
to make reads.
I don't think Hugh Freeze. I think he's a good offensive mind, and he can be a good play caller with the right personnel. Of course, anybody can, but I do think he's overall with it. When you look back at his career, he is a pretty good play caller. But as far as I just don't think he commits to the run enough at times, and I just don't think he's a quarterback developer. I think he's more of you got to go find the right guy, the good player. Chad Kelly certainly was a good fit. Bo Wallace was pretty good at Ole Miss. He got both of those out of the JUCO ranks. It's going to be really interesting to see what he does at QB for Auburn going forward, because so far, Hank Brown, I wasn't that impressed with him. He brought him with him from Liberty as far as he was going to be committed. Walker White seems to have some talent, but he needs to go out. Look, Mario Cristobal had a chance to make the playoff. I don't think he will now, but, he certainly went out and got a big-time QB. And so that's what Hugh is going to have to do in this offseason, and we'll see who are those quarterbacks that are going to be on the market, because we don't even know yet.
Well, speaking of on the market, Holden Grenier is on the market. He is going into the portal. Now, On3 Sports yesterday put out an article that said Hank Brown plans to enter the NCAA transfer portal.
Right.
Hank Brown went on Twitter and said, hey, look, he spoke with a couple other reporters and says he has confirmed with reports they're premature. Those are not accurate, that he is going into the portal as of yet.
Yeah, well, I think he will, though. To be honest, I think that's what a lot of people are expecting. And then it comes down to this. Deuce Knight on Wednesday, does he sign with Auburn? He's committed there. Or does he flip to Ole Miss?
If he signs with Auburn on Wednesday, do you think Hank Brown goes into the portal then after that?
I think that Auburn will then go try to get a starting quarterback out of the portal. I don't think that Deuce Knight's ready to play as a freshman. Okay. So he's going to need some development.
Right.
So I think they would go get two quarterbacks. If they don't get Deuce Knight, they would go get if Deuce Knight flips to Ole Miss, I think they'd go get a younger QB potentially, and or maybe they would talk Hank Brown into staying and continuing to develop with Walker White. But then I think they would go get a starter. Now, if Deuce Knight doesn't flip and he signs with Auburn, then I think it's just the one starting quarterback in the portal. And then I think you'll see Hank Brown gone. I think Hank Brown and Garner will both be in the portal.
By the way, Deuce Knight was at the Ole Miss Mississippi State game. He was at the Egg Bowl.
Yes.
Al Copeland on Twitter telling us that the difference in a fried turkey and a baked turkey is the equivalent of a $75 ribeye and a 2-day-old leftover hot dog at Mapco.
So I'm assuming that the baked turkey is the Mapco.
Yes.
We've got to try a fried turkey, Scott.
Who could cook us a fried turkey now?
We could probably do a show somewhere where Brandon is located, and he would know someone that could fry us a turkey during a show, probably.
Would it be done in 2 hours?
Probably. I mean, or at least it could be maybe even done before we get there. Knowing Brandon, he knows somebody that can
start
fry
the
us a
turkey before we get there so that during the show it's cooking. It needs to cook during the show.
I'm inviting myself over to his house, but B. Rich could even fry us a turkey.
If somebody could set us up, we would do the show.
We could do the show from his deck.
Yes, we will literally do a show from somebody's house.
Right.
We will show up at your house and we will do the show there. If you could fry us a turkey, start it and fry it so that it's cooking during the show.
Putting pressure on
and
B.
then we
Rich
can eat it during the show.
Turkey and show how good it is. But he said he could fry a turkey if he does it every time. We could do it from his deck. It has to be warm though.
Well, we can. Well, I mean, I don't care. Yeah, we just need somebody to fry. I know it's past Thanksgiving, but it's still the holiday season.
It's still the holiday season,
and you can still buy a turkey.
Right?
Turkeys, they don't go. I mean, you can still buy one.
Right.
We just need someone to fry us a turkey. So we can do that. I mean, that would be a first. That would be a first for us. All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we're not done. Nick Kelly is going to join us. We'll talk Alabama football because we got to recap the Iron Bowl. Plus, Alabama, they came up short in their quest for the $1 million in the Player Eras Festival on the hardwood.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on Winchester at Swaim Circle. That one's coming in as an injury type. Picked up one on Shorter at Kane in Madison. Looks like they've canceled Himsey on it. Got a pedestrian hit by a vehicle on Springgate Lane at Cecil Ashburn. And we had Oak Drive at Oak Creek, or Oak Creek Drive at Oak Creek Circle. Cooler temps are here. Don't get caught without heat. D&L Refrigeration can check your system before it's too late. Ask about discounts for military, law enforcement, and seniors. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Neck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
At Wheelchairs for Warriors, serving America's heroes is our mission. With your support, we serve veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty across the United States of America, providing them custom fit, complex rehab mobility solutions to ensure they rejoin their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. Join the mission at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's perfect!
Hey, let's go! All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back in on a Monday morning that has seen us here live from Bill Penny Toyota on a Monday. And we've been kind of recapping the Iron Bowl, an Iron Bowl that's on Alabama victorious inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. And we just kind of mentioned it there as we went to break. Alabama wrapping up their Player Eras Festival out there in Vegas, coming up short against a very talented Dana Altman. Is he still coaching there at Oregon?
Yep.
Yeah, Dana Altman, the
Hall of
former
Famer.
Creighton Blue Jay head coach, coaching out there in Oregon basketball, but Alabama coming up short in that championship game in the Player Eras Festival. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, unfortunately, Latrell Wrightsell, we'll find out more, something probably today, I would think, or in the next day or two. Alabama will be headed to Chapel Hill Wednesday to play in the ACC-SEC Challenge, but Latrell Wrightsell may have ended his season with an Achilles injury, but we don't know the full extent of it yet. But he went down with a no-contact injury with 10 points, was shooting the ball well in that game against Oregon. That Alabama lost 83-81 in the Players Area, tournament finals. But we're also going to talk some Iron Bowl and Alabama's postseason outlook with our next guest. He does a great job for AL.com covering the Crimson Tide. And, of course, we're talking about Nick Kelly, and he was live in Tuscaloosa. It was always great to see him in the press box, and now he's going to give us some of his thoughts as Kalen DeBoer's first regular season has flown by and ended with Alabama with a 9-3 record. Nick, how are you doing, man?
Doing well, guys. How are you?
We're doing well. Just your immediate thoughts on this season that – I mean, I feel like I was with you guys 2 weeks ago at the press conference, and it's already flown by. Of course, we know spring practice, then fall camp, and now a regular season. But your overall thoughts right now on Alabama and 9-3, undefeated at home, in the postseason position they're in now.
Yeah, they're in a much better spot than they were just a week ago at this point. That was probably the worst loss of the season, worst game of the season for Alabama against Oklahoma. And not that they played perfect ball. I mean, they had 4 turnovers, but still like a lot better where they're at right now. And frankly, no matter what happens with the committee, no matter what happens to the playoff, postseason, what have you, Alabama at least finished on a strong note to the regular season. The Iron Bowl, of course, when you win that, it's a good thing. I think alleviates some pressure if you're Kalen DeBoer to an extent. And so, yeah, I think just a really, really good note to end the season on. And if you can build on that, that's the key, if they can make the postseason. But I think they gave themselves as good a chance as they could going into this, kind of last week in terms of how they responded after that Oklahoma game.
Yeah, that's the key there. Because, I mean, if you don't get this win Saturday against Auburn, all this talk about, they should be in is mute, because it would have ended all of that. Still, they were able to overcome. I mean, the biggest thing, even in the Oklahoma game and all the other games, was the turnovers. When they turned the ball over, bad things would happen. They were able to overcome the 4 turnovers because the defense and the line of scrimmage were huge pluses for Alabama.
No doubt. And I think Kane Womack and his defense maybe hasn't got enough credit this season and down this stretch period. Last game was a little deceiving. You have 24 points given up, but really to Oklahoma, one was a pick six. One, the Oklahoma offense got the ball in the red zone after an interception. So really that was not a horrible defensive effort from Kane Womack's unit. Otherwise, had a shutout against Missouri, didn't give a touchdown up when it mattered against LSU, gave up a score to Mercer. I mean, but really this defense has been incredibly solid. So as long as Alabama's not turning the ball over offensively, they're in a really good spot. And even when they did turn it over against Auburn, the Alabama defense still stood tall. And that essentially kind of goal line stand they had, what was that in the second quarter? Really impressive.
Well, Nick, and I know you wrote a piece on AL.com too, but about it. But the win, I think, was huge for perception in a lot of ways for Kalen DeBoer. I even talked about this last week with Nick Saban. He went 1-1 in the rivalry games. He won very impressively against Tennessee in year one, and that was really, I thought, his biggest win that year. And then lost a tough Iron Bowl on the road at Auburn. But and I know that it seemed in the locker room that from the players' perspective that some of them took it personally, what happened during the week. And then I think it was also cathartic. Is that a best way to kind of phrase it? How would you phrase it after what you heard the reaction was in the locker room after the win?
Yeah, I think it was just really full of relief and just celebration to an extent of no matter what happens from here, these guys finished strong at home. They got one last good experience at Bryant-Denny, and I think you saw that come through. I mean, Tyler Booker was real emotional after the game, and I think Jalen Milroe he looked like he was soaking it up. And so I think it has some real value when you can control what you can control, and you can go win that last game in front of your home crowd, because they won't, for the guys who are going to leave for the draft or even the portal, like that'll be their last opportunity to do that, no matter what happens with the playoff, bowl games, what have you. So, yeah, make the most of the moment. And I think they did that. And it also happened to be against an Auburn team that's your rival. And so I think that, you can talk about what that means for legacy, what it means for DeBoer in his first season. But let's just look at it surface level of, hey, that's just a good way to go out.
Do you think that was the last time Jalen Milroe plays inside Bryant-Denny Stadium?
If I had to make a prediction, I'd say yes, just because I think at this point I'll be surprised if he doesn't go out for the NFL draft. I mean, yeah, he's got his issues. He's got his things that have popped up, and of late turnovers have been an issue. But you still look at like ESPN's quarterback rankings. I mean, he's the fourth quarterback behind Shadur Sanders. I'm totally blanking on the Miami quarterback's name, but Cam Ward.
Yeah.
And then Quinn Ewers, and then you got Jalen. And so some team is going to fall in love with his measurables and frankly think that they can turn him into the best player in the NFL, and they'll draft him. I'm not saying he's not worth being drafted high. I think that for the people who see his faults and his issues, I think there are going to be a few teams that see his strengths and his incredible athleticism and his physique, and then he's going to run fast. He's going to bench crazy numbers. I mean, so that's a thing. Jalen's impressive physically, and in the NFL, that goes a long way. So I'd kind of be surprised if he doesn't go out for the NFL draft. But either way, I should kind of be surprised if Alabama doesn't have another starting quarterback for next season.
Well, Nick, and I know you're going to be asked this 5,222 times in the next week.
Just today alone.
Exactly. But after what we all saw, it was a chaotic Saturday. We've got championship weekend coming up. How strong is Alabama's case right now to get in?
Look, I think it's pretty good. I think Saturday night when things had just transpired, Notre Dame won, I was like, I don't know. But, I mean, you stack up the resumes. And, again, trying to figure out what the committee's going to do is a very just fickle activity.
Yes.
You're not going to succeed more often than not. But you look at the resumes. Alabama's got, just based on the AP top 25, 3 ranked wins. And you compare that to South Carolina, SMU, Ole Miss, Miami, Clemson. None of them have that. Now, of course, then you look at the losses. Alabama's got a ranked loss and 2 unranked losses. Ole Miss has 3 unranked losses, and Miami has 2 unranked losses. But Miami, if we just stick with wins, Miami has no ranked wins of teams that are still ranked. SMU has no ranked wins of teams that are still ranked. Ole Miss has 2, Georgia and South Carolina. And then South Carolina's got Missouri and Clemson. And Alabama's got Georgia, South Carolina, and Missouri. And so I think if you just want to look at resumes without playing the whole eye test game, because the eye test can be subjective, very subjective, I should say. Not all of us have 20/20 vision. I think when you just look at resumes, Alabama's got probably the best, I think, chance of those teams. And again, I'm looking through that of the lens of being here in Alabama, but I just, if you took the names of those schools off those labels, I just think Alabama's got a really good chance.
Wow. Is there anything that you're going to be watching on Saturday that could prevent Alabama from getting in if it falls in a certain direction?
Yeah, of course, that Clemson SMU game is big. And frankly, I can't quite decide which is better. I mean, I think if Clemson wins, that could ruin a few things. But if SMU wins, I think it's probably, I don't know. It's so hard to tell because in that case, SMU would get a ranked win over Clemson, maybe boost their resume a little bit. And so I don't know. It's a little tricky. Well, of course, SMU would get in with winning that automatic bid. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I'd like to say if this happens, this will be good for Alabama. If this doesn't happen, it won't be. But
right,
it's just kind of tricky to tell to an extent.
Well, and you've been on the beat now for a few years covering the Crimson Tide. You covered the end of the Saban era, and now this transition to Kalen DeBoer. Before we even we know they're going to the postseason, whether it be to the playoff or a bowl game. How would you categorize Kalen's first year in Tuscaloosa now that it's completed in the regular season?
To be honest with you, I think it all comes down to whether they make the playoff or not. So I can't quite categorize it yet, and that's not me trying to escape the question.
Right.
I think the barometer was if he makes the playoff, it's a successful first year. He doesn't have to win a national championship. I mean, of course, you got that portion of the fan base that would say that, but I think a realistic and a good goal was to have him and the Alabama Crimson Tide make the playoff. And if they could do that, hey, things are off to a good start. If they don't, then it's not a successful season, in my opinion. Now, I think you can't call it a failure per se. I think it's still a really good first year. Right now, it's second all-time, or I should say in the past century for Alabama coaches in terms of winning percentage. So it's still a good year. But I think that just with what this fan base has come to expect, what frankly is realistic at a place like Alabama, you got to make the playoff, especially when it's expanded. So I think that, it all comes down to if they make the playoff or not. If they do, it's a successful season. If it's not, then I think you have to relook at it and maybe even closer to a failure than a success.
Well, let's turn our attention to basketball as well. Alabama NATO's wrapping up the Player Eras Festival out in Las Vegas. They get to the championship game and run into a very tough Oregon squad.
Yeah, it was unfortunately I didn't get a chance to really watch the game because I was wrapped up in Iron Bowl coverage, but I got to see a little bit of it at the end. But yeah, Alabama had 3 battles out in Vegas, and they emerged victorious in two of them, I should say. And then the last one didn't quite get there. And of course, losing Latrell Wrightsell, I think is a key part. He's a veteran guy. Maybe affects you a little bit psyche-wise too if that happens. The way it did with just not an injury that didn't look good. But yeah, Alabama couldn't quite finish that game, but the other 2 they did. And so I think that's a really good building just experience challenge, and that's what NATO's wants. I mean, he wants those tough games to figure out some of those things, and they get battle tested. I think Alabama's battle tested, and ideally you come out of that 3-0, but it's not guaranteed that you do. So, I think that you'd like to have gotten that last one. They could have gotten that last one, but unfortunately for their sake, they didn't.
No, they didn't, and now they got an interesting road trip coming up on Wednesday to the Dean Dome, Nick.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that goes. I mean, Alabama's had some good success against UNC of late, but those have not been in North Carolina. So, very interested to see how that goes. A real tough road test. See how they respond to that Oregon loss.
No question. Well, good stuff, Nick. Great video essay again before the Iron Bowl. You guys have done a great job with AL.com and covering the Crimson Tide. We appreciate it. Let everybody know how to connect with you and what you guys have coming up.
Yeah, just @ Nick Kelly and on X and also just AL.com for myself and my colleagues. All kinds of content there, and just kind of covering. I mean, signing. You got the early signing period starting this week on Wednesday. Stuff coming up, and then of course just the portal coming soon going. So we'll have all that covered, and we'll see where the playoff goes, and we'll be covering it all.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
How's it going, guys? Thanks.
All right, Nick Kelly, kind enough to join us on a Monday morning. Get that final break in. We'll wrap it all up with your tomorrow's headlines next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck with injuries, 231 in Patterson Lane. We got Winchester and Swaim Circle. That one's a no injury, but it's got a lot of traffic back up there. Got Cecil Ashburn and Springgate Lane. That one had injury. Had a pedestrian hit by a vehicle on Oak Creek Drive at Oak Creek Circle. Still may be trying to get that one cleared out of the way. Are you over 35 and overweight? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The 2024 SEC Football Championship game. Back to throw over the middle into the end zone. Gone! Touchdown!
Ball loose on the turf. Longhorns have it. Ball game.
Join us Saturday in Atlanta as the Texas Longhorns and the Georgia Bulldogs fight for the SEC Championship.
And we are moments away. And as you might imagine, the energy level is super high.
Kickoff is at 3 on your home for SEC football, the SEC Radio Network.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-Sparky.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, 8:52 on a Monday morning. Yeah, we're getting a lot of messages on this turkey, on this frying of a turkey. So apparently we're going to make this happen. Just don't know when. I would say within the next week or so, we will be doing a show from somebody's house where we're just going to fry a turkey because we've never had a fried turkey.
Yeah.
We'll just have turkey for breakfast one morning and that's it. We don't need sides. We don't need anything else.
So you don't want any sides, huh?
No, we're just going to fry a turkey so we can say we've had a fried turkey. I mean, we're past Thanksgiving, but we're before Christmas.
Well,
so
what if we had some homemade biscuits and had turkey and biscuits?
Well, that'd be fine too. I'm not going to turn away extra food. I'm just saying we don't need.
You can make it a breakfast.
I mean, well, heck, we can. The question is, though, how big of a turkey do we need to fry?
Probably medium size. I mean, let's
what's
be real.
medium-sized turkey?
No, I don't know how much
20 pounds
turkey you would want. I don't
20
know.
pounds, 15 pounds.
We'd have to let B-Rich decide that if we end up going if he makes the turkey. I don't know.
I don't know if there's like a bad sized a turkey to fry. I mean, obviously you want a good
say
one.
This once though, I think everybody should understand on YouTube the reason I'm wearing black today is for DeMarcus Riddick's funeral because he didn't back up his talk. He had 2 tackles.
Oh, anyway, UAH basketball coming up tonight, 6:30, Blue Mountain inside Spraggins Hall. The men are going to be taking on Blue Mountain. It's their last pre-conference game before they get back into conference play.
Oh,
got to remember that because they
went to Trevecca, got a good
win. On Wednesday and got a good win.
Right?
And then West Florida
picked up the phone, I think that's how it went down, and said, hey, we got to move our conference game on Thursday. So they will not have a conference game on Thursday. They were supposed to take on West Florida Thursday, Valdosta on Saturday. They will not do that. They will have Valdosta on Saturday. West Florida has been moved to Monday, so it'll be Saturday, Monday.
Both road?
Home games.
Oh, home
games. All home. Now, the good news is the UAH women, they had their last non-conference game on Saturday. They took on UT Southern, formerly Martin Methodist, and all they did was win 114-65.
Whoa!
They lit the scoreboard up. They put up 114. Alan Sharp
playing around.
Alan Sharp got his 500th career victory. Most points, by the way, since 2013 for a UAH Charger squad. 4 players with 10 points or more. Millie Brown, game high 26. She had 8 3-pointers on the day, the most by a Charger since 2013. Ivy Maddox, all she did was go 4-4-4 from behind the arc. So UAH letting it fly and letting it rip, but 114 for the women, so congratulations to them. Again, Blue Mountain, UAH tonight, 6:30, Spraggins Hall. Oh, boy. Don't forget to send in your letters. Again, WZZN events. Oh, man.
Well,
I need to take sinus medicine because it is absolutely killing me. Army-Navy game. Yeah, don't forget. Get those
Army
in by the end of the week.
AAC championship game against John Summerall Tulane as well.
Tulane a favorite in that ball game, despite I watched that Memphis game, and John was offensively, they were letting it rip. They were trying it. Too many interceptions, though, costly.
Too many turnovers, too many mistakes. But we have been told by B. Rich, 14-pound turkey, and it will be plenty.
14-pound turkey.
Yeah.
We are frying a turkey.
Yes, we are.
Okay, we will do your show. We're going to be rich. We're going to do the show from your house. I don't know what day. You tell us the day. We will fry a 14-pound turkey during the 2-hour show, and we will taste it, and then we will know how good it really is. Probably should have did this before Thanksgiving, but we'll do it afterwards nonetheless.
This show is never scripted.
No, it is not.
It all comes back to money.
Visit our store right now at zonedeals.bigdealsmedia.net to take advantage of all the best deals in the Tennessee Valley. Or just go to our website, 977ESPN.com.